Hey guys, how you doing today? Oscar here for Papidaddy.com, bringing you another video blog review. This time we're looking at Wendyfulworld.com, and we're going to get into it right now. Just want to let you know this is brought to you by my sponsor, SiteGround.com. If you click on the link below, you'll find the best deals for a hosting account if you need one to host your website, e-commerce site, gallery, or if you want to move from your current host to a much faster, reliable, secure, and supportive host. Check them out, siteground.com. The link below will give you a great deal. Here's the hosting I use, and one of the hostings I recommend, depending on your business. For most blogs, most websites, it is perfect. So, what about Wendyful World? She requested a review, and her focus was she requested that I focus on monetization. So, different than the previous reviews I've made, I actually wrote this out before I recorded this video. So I already have most of my points right here, and I'm going to make the review based on those. So if you want to really dig into some of the details and get the links, just go to the blog post, also linked below the video in the description of the YouTube, the YouTube description. So let me take a look at the points I've made and we will cover. This is what she described. I have installed AdSense and a couple of affiliation links, but so far very little money has been made. Perhaps the real issue is driving traffic or generating interest in getting people to click. We have touched on that at yesterday's meetup at lunch. One problem I think is that I'm too busy in trying to get the post out to fulfill my obligations to the PR companies that I don't think about my own objective, which is now more selfish or about me. Thanks so much for taking the time. And Wendy from Wendyfulworld.com. So let me just address a couple of points there. When you have a blog, unless you actually sign a contract or agreed to any terms, you don't have any obligations to any PR companies. They are using you to write about them, and those writings are worth a lot of money. They know they're getting exposure for free in exchange for a visit to check out the product or a sample of the product or even the full product, and the cost of providing that to you is negligible compared to the benefit they will receive. So don't feel like you're obligated to do something. And I noticed that you do feel that throughout your blog post. If you want to know more about some opinions on that, let me know. But really, your primary focus is to deliver quality content to your readers, not to the PR companies, not to people promoting products. It's to your readers. The readers want to know how you feel about a product or an experience. They don't want to hear what the company wants them to hear. They can already see that on their website. They can see that on their brochures and in the product. That's their job. It's not your job. Your job is to give them an opinion or a description on your own things. You don't owe anybody anything. They owe you. Just to give you an idea, blog posts of the quality I've seen on your site are often paid for in the range of $100 to $700. So if you think about how much money you could be making from a blog post like that, you really reconsider what you owe to people that give you a free dinner or free lunch. So, a couple other things we'll get into. Let's take a look. Wendyfulworld.com. There's a little bit of dissonance on your website. So some things don't match up to what we're looking at. For example, this picture here tells us that maybe you're a traveler writer or a photographer, something to do with the ocean. I'm not quite sure, but it doesn't tell us that you write about food or any products. So I would change that picture, make it about the food. That's mostly what you write about. Also, your logo, it's very hard to read, and it kind of just blends into the background. There's no pop. Pop is what people say, but there's no way that it stands out from the rest. I would change all that from a design point of view, but getting into the part of making money, there is no way for you to make money on your site right now because it isn't about traffic at this point. It isn't about your obligations. It's simply that you haven't created opportunities to make money. So we will talk about that. Let me take a look here. Okay, some technical points. Reduce your image sizes. If we go and click on any one blog post with great images, your images are huge. See, I have a really fast connection, and you saw that some images were still loading. Your site loads really fast, but that I'm lucky that I have a great internet connection, super fast computer, everything's gonna work no matter what. A lot of people don't have that, or they may be looking on their phone when they don't have Wi-Fi. Some of your images are close to 0.5 meg in size, and if you think about your own phone, when you're out and about and you have maybe 10 minutes where you want to catch up on Facebook, Twitter, or somewhere, and you just want to read some stuff, that's when a lot of people will read your blog post, and you don't want them sitting there for 2 minutes waiting for your page to load because your images are huge. So definitely spend some time optimizing your images. Try to keep them under 120 kilobytes per image. You can Google that or learn a little bit more if you go read the blog post. Your permalinks. Permalinks need to be fixed, in my opinion. Some people disagree, but most people would agree with me that this right here, your permalink, is not very friendly. It creates a bit of that dissonance I was talking about, so that if I'm reading a blog post, I tend to look up and see what it is. Maybe it will show me the category or the section I'm reading, and in this case, I have no idea where I am based on this. It's a minor issue, but it plays into the overall perspective and delivery of your website. So in order to change that, I also included a link right here to tell you how to fix that. A couple other things. Let's see. Remove the right-click disable feature. This is a very amateurish mistake, especially done with photographers and artists. They feel like this is how they're going to protect their work, which could not be further from the truth. If I go right here and right-click on this, I can't right-click on it to interact with a picture like any other website. That is a bad thing to do. Without really getting into it, you can read this, remove that feature as soon as you can. Just take it off. Another thing I notice, you are pushing the photography credit a lot, and I don't think you should be doing that. You should tone that down quite a bit. You have this at the beginning of almost every post, and then each photo has really prominent watermarks, which I also discourage you from, but that's up to you. A much more organic or natural approach, if you want to promote the photography business on this blog, is to remove this thing at the top, and then simply at the very bottom, at the end of your post, just say image credit or images by Alan Taylor Photography. That's it. That's all you need, a small link. This feels very forced, like you're saying, hey, you know what, go check this out. It doesn't matter what else I'm talking about, this is the most important thing. And people are coming to see your food blog, reading about the food, looking at the pictures. These are not people that may want to get a photography session done, or if they are, what's going to happen is they're going to look at a blog post and say, these are awesome photos. How do I take photos like this? That's when you can go to the bottom and say, hey, the photos are taken by this person. Now go check it out. Those people will go and follow the link and learn more about the photography. The people that don't care about that will simply be annoyed by the fact that every post you have pushes that on top. So I would remove that. And if I had it my way, I would also remove the watermarking. It prevents your website or your pictures from being shared, and it immediately limits your website being shared, so it will decrease traffic. I will not pin an image that has somebody else's logo on it. I will not send people to look at an image that has logos plastered all over it. And this is a very, very prevalent how do you say it, practice with foodies and photographers. But if you notice, the biggest foodie blogs and the biggest photographers in the world do not watermark their photos. There's a good reason for that. And a good essay and things to read about this is if you go and read the guy from Stuck in Customs. He's Trey Ratcliffe. Go read Trey Ratcliffe. He's one of our modern, photographer leaders worldwide, and he has an entire thing about it. And I believe I've written about it as well. Remove all that. It's nonsense. Okay, now getting more into the money of it. You mentioned AdSense as part of the strategy that you have, or the tactics or whatever. And let's take a look at where AdSense is running. Knowing so that I'm going to tell you to remove AdSense. It makes no sense for you to be running AdSense right now, but of course you didn't know that, so that's why you asked for the review. So I'm going to tell you why it doesn't make sense. First of all, there's no AdSense here. So there's no ads being shown. The only ads that show are all the way at the bottom, right here. And then the problem with the ads that you do have, which you're running AdSense and Amazon, and now I also see Ebates. We'll talk about that. First of all, you have a great post, a lot of text describing the food, some great images. Very, very nice. I keep going. I get to the end of the post, and then it's just like, bleh. Like, look at all these ads. They're not strategically placed. They make no sense. And very, very unlikely that anybody will click on that, which is probably why you haven't seen any money from it. Besides that, you don't have enough traffic for per click revenue to be significant to you. I venture to say that you have generated less than a couple bucks per month with your AdSense, and that is because it doesn't make sense to have AdSense here. You need more traffic, and you also need to place your ads more strategically. For example, this ad right here, I would put it somewhere towards the beginning, like somewhere right here, under festive, for example. In this particular post, I would break this up and put the ad right here. Now, I'm not saying that you go and do that. What I'm really telling you is to remove AdSense altogether. There's so many other ways to monetize your site that will generate hundreds of times more money than AdSense can do for you. Once you get, say, 10 to 30,000 unique pages, unique visitors per month, AdSense might be something that you want to put in there. You will make money with that, and it could be significant. And also, AdSense plays a very valuable role as your blog grows in order to determine how much you want to charge for an advertising if you want to just charge market prices. What I mean by that is that if you put AdSense, let's say you put an AdSense box right here in the corner, you run it for 6 months with a high amount of traffic, as I mentioned, you will make X amount of dollars. Imagine that you make $400 a month from that. Now you can tell advertisers, hey, you know what? I'll sell you that spot for $500 a month. 20% markup over what I make with AdSense. You get exclusive exposure all the time, and most advertisers will be more likely to pay that or even negotiate at those rates because you have proof to back it up to say, look, if you don't pay me, I'm still going to make that money from somewhere else. And if you like that spot, then pay a little premium and you get guaranteed results, or not guaranteed results, but you get a guaranteed spot. That's how you could make money with your blog. I know, not only because I know you, from social media and our personal relationships, and you've been to our meetups, I know that you are in Orange County. Also, all your blog posts, or most of them, reflect that, which opens up the opportunity for you to sell advertising to all the different businesses in Orange County. You need to measure your traffic and then come to them and say, look, it costs you this much money to put an ad on Yelp or to put an ad on the OC Register or whatever newspaper, magazine it is, but it only costs you this much to put an ad on my site. And I talk about nothing except Orange County, restaurants, food, and wine. That's a very, very attractive advertising opportunity for a local business that wants to attract people that like this kind of stuff. So anybody that tells you that banner advertising is dead doesn't really know much. There's new companies starting out all the time that run banner advertising. It's one of Google's biggest revenue sources. They just don't share a lot of that with you. So banner advertising works if you do it right, and you have a lot of opportunity for that. Another way that I mentioned here that you could make money is simply by talking about products that you use on a regular basis, or creating information for your readers. For example, you may want to talk about, for example, this restaurant here. I don't know, Tamarind of London. You mentioned it a few times. I did a search for Tamarind and a couple of posts came up. Well, some of the things that would be really great would be if you were able to talk about something that was unique to that restaurant and how somebody may be able to buy that at home or replicate it, or basically sharing that experience with you. It could be a book that the chef that works at a restaurant promotes. Perhaps, I don't know about this one Tamarind of London place, but I know many chefs in Orange County have books. You simply have to go to Amazon and talk about that book on a separate blog post. And you would say something like, do you remember that blog post I talked about? I think you mentioned, let me backtrack. There, this one, Zob's Kitchen and Bar. You mentioned that the author or the owner has a couple of books. That's a great opportunity for you to capitalize on that. Not only do you know the chef, you've been to the restaurant, you like him, you've already shown people the great food and stuff. Now you could expand into the book part of it and talk about that book not on one blog post but on several blog posts. You need to create a mini network of blog posts that talk about the same topic or product, and then promote that product. In the book, in the blog post, you can talk about, hey, I visited this restaurant back in November. In May, I was happy when they opened their 5th location, and I also now want to tell you about the book. The book contains 50 other top recipes, and it's been edited. This is the 2nd edition, so on and so forth. Here's a couple recipe titles to give you an idea of what to expect. The book is available at Amazon for $25. Click on this link to buy it. That is so much more targeted than a banner ad that it will generate some money from you. And if you repeat that, say, maybe 5 times over the next few months, I'm not saying to say the same thing, but you could say, hey, on your subsequent post, you could say, I bought the book I recommended for you last time, and some of the things I found in there, I had no idea about, like this recipe, and go on about it. Take some pictures of how you came up with the recipe, or a friend, have a cocktail party, do the recipe, and mention the book again. Say, hey, if you'd like to check this book out, go here on Amazon and buy it. That's how you generate money from affiliate links. If you don't have repetition and different perspectives, the amount of money you'll make from those links will be negligible at best, if you make any. So you definitely want to keep driving that point home every time you write a blog post. And because you already have a lot of blog posts, you have opportunities to spread those out over a period of a couple of weeks. So you could say, you know what, Monday I'm going to talk about A, Tuesday B, C, D, and so on. And then when you get to 2 weeks, you start over with A, B, C. And every so often in between, you talk about other things. You never have to repeat yourself, but you are talking about the same product. You'll notice I do that with web hosting, email, WordPress, because every one topic in the world has so many different levels and different angles you can talk about it. There's entire shows devoted to just one topic, right? So that's what you want to do, is you want to really give an expert analysis that will encourage people to buy, or even just to take an action. which leads me to the next point. Something that will be very, very hard to do is with your site right now is make money because you don't have a list. There's no way here for me to join you to say, look, oh, I loved when you reviewed this chicken fries. I love that. I want to know when you find another great spot. How do I do that? There's no way. You need a place here for me to give you my name and email and say, please send me more stuff when you have it. That alone will also give you the opportunity to market to me as a subscriber, where you can tell me things about the book example I just gave you. And you can send me a Christmas wish, a New Year's wish, Valentine's, and that list will make your website immensely more valuable to the people that are giving you media tastings and PR opportunities, because they know you have a way to reach people that are already in your circles and they already trust you. All you have to do is remind them. Email list is incredibly important, and you're missing that. I've talked about this in my blog just a little bit, and I will be expanding it more later, but you do have a very small list, and actually I see 3, and those are your social media channels. In a way, metaphorically speaking, those are lists. Those are ways that you can go back to those people and remind them that, hey, I have a new review, come check it out. The only problem with that list is that you have very little control over when and how people see those messages. If you come here to your Facebook page, you have 570 or 569 likes. If you were to post something here, you will be lucky if 50 people see that on here. Most people will ignore it, and sadly but true, Facebook will actively hide it from most people until you pay to have that promoted. Not very effective. It's a good thing to have, but you shouldn't count on it as a way to make money. It's a way to extend your brand, make new friends, make some personal connections, have dialogues, see and test the waters. If you want to talk about a topic, post it and see how people react. But don't count on your Facebook page to generate any significant amount of income if you aren't already monetizing your blog. Same thing goes for Twitter and Instagram, which I saw on your website. Let's take a look. So here's Twitter and Instagram. Definitely good things to have, and as long as you're maintaining them and working to that, then you should do it. But focus on the activities that generate you money, which is fostering your list, producing great content, and optimizing that content so that more people can find it and join your list, so that you can make valuable and useful recommendations. Once somebody trusts you and they believe that what you're giving them is valuable, if you ask them to buy, if you ask them to click, to share, to participate, they are more likely to do that than if they just found you for the first time. Most people will take anywhere from 2 months to 9 months to make a conscious purchasing decision. Those are the people you want to have in your client list. It's great to have somebody that decides to buy something on the spot. Those are awesome. Maybe somebody comes and meets you on your blog, and the next day they decide to buy the book that you recommended. Chances are they were ready to buy a book and you just tipped them over the edge. That's great. I'm not going to turn down any money, but it would be so much better if you could do that tipping over the edge for all the people on your list that have already been listening and they're captive when you tell them a story. Definitely you need a list. You need a way to reach back to those people and stay in touch. Social media will not do that for you at a way that you can monetize, at least not until you have substance and a way to make money. Social media is just a way to connect us. So your pictures look great. Of course, you have a photography background. And if I remember correctly, you mentioned that you wanted to use this blog as a way to promote your photography, and that's great. But other than the forced links on the blog post, there's nothing else that tells me about the photography. If we go to About Me or Wendy, there's not a whole lot about photography here. If you want to make money with your photography thing, you have to tell people about it. Just do it tactfully and nicely. For example, rather than having any disclaimers on the photos on the blog, you could just have a section right here that says, all photography at Wendyfulworld.com is provided by Allen Photography. A short bio on the side, say to, click here to see our packages or whatever it is that you have to offer. That would be great. That in itself is a way of banner advertising that would be fairly effective. I am almost finished with this, so hang on, let me just review my notes here. So I would recommend, for the purposes of advertising, a couple of things. Change your theme and template. It's it's a little bit dated and a little bit, like I mentioned, doesn't make sense with the type of food or the type of blog that you have. Your logo needs reworking. But one thing that would be very important is for you to get a different template that allows you to make the text a little bit narrower. Right now, if we go to read a blog post, is really wide, and makes it difficult for people to read. So see how this is really long? You want to make it a little bit narrower, like somewhere around here. That's why newspapers are designing columns, because it's easier to read that way than to go all the way across, and then by the time you come back, sometimes you could lose that page. Your place. It's just a matter of how people read. The comments are a little bit strange. I'm not quite sure why they behave this way. It may be part of the theme or something, but I'm not sure why they show like this, kind of in a weird window, and they disappear like this. They're also a different font, very small. I would take that off and just let the comments flow like a normal blog post. Remove this eBay things. It's not even clickable. Let's see, About Me, Contact, Product Reviews. Oh, another thing, this is just commentary on the presenting of your post. I see that you have a lot of media tasting in the title of your blog post. I would take that off personally. You don't need to tell people that. And it may in fact exclude people from reading further because they say this has nothing to do with me. I just wanted to know about the food there. You don't have to prove to anybody that you're been invited as part of the media to say there. If you notice, my blog post and most of my friends that do this for a living, we never really mention that we're press or media or anything. We make the disclaimer that we were invited and we got it for free, but we focus on the food. We focus on, did we like it? What's the food about? What was the experience like? The other people around us already know we're media. The restaurants, the companies know that they can approach us to promote their products. So there's not a lot of reason to mention that again. The same goes for categories. I would remove the category of commercial and media tasting, unless you are talking about the media tasting itself, like who was there, who put it together, had to get on the list, had to manage, had to behave while you're at a media tasting. If that's what the post is about, then leave it as media tasting. But otherwise, it doesn't really make sense for it to be part of that or to even be a category, because it's a little bit hard to explain in such a short video, but I would remove that and instead categorize the post into things, for example, the type of food. Is it high class? Is it fine dining? Is it casual? Is it fast casual? Those are the kind of things I would focus, and most likely that's the kind of thing that the PR companies that you feel obligated to want you to do. They don't really want you to mention that you were invited or you're part of the press or media. By law, you have to disclose that, but they don't really want you to say that because that puts you on a bias position for the reader. This is, oh, you know what? She's going to be so nice about this food because she gets this food for free, and she gets invited. So it may be a little bit hard for people to trust you initially with those statements. I would take them off if it were me. Besides that, the design, remove those ads, start promoting products that have more, I guess people would say, more wood behind the arrow, whatever they say. And also ask people to click on those links and to buy them. Say, check out the book, or buy the recipe book by this person. And also invite them to leave you comments, to ask you questions. And all that will generate a little more traffic. But ultimately, if you want to monetize, you have to invite people to buy a product that you recommend. That's the only way you're going to make money with affiliate marketing or affiliate links. And it may sound like a lot of work, but it isn't. Once you fix the column size here, even right now you could do it. It's very simple to add affiliate links that are relative to what you're showing as well. For example, you could have, like I mentioned at the very beginning, you could have a local business advertise on your site and only show their ads when you're talking about their city. So when you tag or categorize a blog post, put the city name, say Irvine, Aliso Viejo, whatever it is. And then you can categorize advertisement to show only for posts that have that tag. The plugin to do that, I mentioned it on my blog post here, is OIO Publisher. It costs $47. Install it, configure it. It's easy to do it, and you'll be set to go. Besides that, I think your content is great. Your pictures are awesome. Just need to reduce the size. And I truly appreciate you requesting a review. I hope that you find it useful, and I hope that you can take some action towards the things I told you. If you have any questions, leave a comment below, email me. And if you found this useful and you think that other people may be able to benefit from this, please let them know that they can also get a review done for their site. Just go to papidaddy.com. At the very top, it says free blog review. All you have to do is fill in your information, including your website, and it goes into my queue to let me know that you want a review. And then I'll publish the review, and this will be useful for you. Just so you have an idea, a complete professional review is worth, I'm not even going to say here, it's worth several $100s. So me spending 20 minutes or half an hour with you, it's very valuable. This is the stuff I do for a living, and I'm happy to help you so long as you want to help yourself. So go and request your own free blog review. Let me know if you have any questions. All the links I mentioned and everything else is right below in the comments, including the blog post where you can read all these thoughts a little bit more in depth and without having to pause and rewind. Anyway, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube and my website. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.